Selecting stitches on the Pfaff Quilt Expression 4.2 sewing machine is just as easy as dialing it in. So any stitch that's up here is ready to be selected. So if you want to do stitch number 117, it will come up on the screen with the actual stitch, and that is actual size. So that does give you a little idea. Now, if this information is not showing, be sure to touch the I for information, and it's going to give us a recommendation for the foot. This one calls for foot 1A. This is also set up for a wing needle, so you actually have a wing needle in with your machines. That's technically a stitch for it. It's a great decorative stitch. It's one of my favorites here. So it does require some stabilizer, highly recommended. The dual feed, that's that little kind of small coming down guy with the black part here, and that is the dual feed being engaged in the back. Feed dogs are up. Feed dogs are adjusted right down here on the front of your machine, right there. That lever will make sure your feed dogs are up or down, depending on what you're actually doing for the project. Good. And when you want to, here's one thing that I do love about this machine, is you do have the ability to adjust for different widths, different lengths. You can actually see when you've changed something by the darkened number on screen. Now, easy way to clear that out, get back to the default setting. You have two ways to, well, actually you have three, but just the easiest is just to reselect that same number. So stitch number 117 will reset that stitch, but also too, if I just go to another stitch, like back to stitch number 1 and then back to stitch number 117, that will also clear out those settings. If you like the settings, maybe you've made it just perfect. This is one thing kind of fun, is you can actually save those settings into your favorites area. Touch the little heart with the arrow pointing into it, and you can save that as a personal stitch and not have to have a little sticky note reminding you what that stitch setting was that you used on that last project. So that is an option for doing that. I'm going to just clear out those settings once again. The other thing that you can do is touch the Alt button here, and that will actually let you move needle position. The stitch can go left or right, and also change the density. So you can actually make it heavierly stitched without actually changing the length. So depending on which settings you have showing, that will give you those choices also. So that's just a basic overview of changing stitches, picking stitches. They're all at your fingertips, and like I've always said, take some time to stitch out each one of these decorative stitches. Maybe make yourself a little stitch book, a little row of each stitch. Maybe do it with variegated thread. That's so fun to see how those stitches look on fabric, not just printed up here on the top of your machine. I truly believe you will fall in love with your machine more if you take time to stitch out all those decorative stitches.